Hello Rangers, and welcome to Ranger Ruby YouTube channel. Today in this video I'll be going over my top 5 books about Theodore Roosevelt. Let's go ahead and dive right on in. Okay, now so if you don't know who Theodore Roosevelt is, he was the 26th President of the United States of America, and he was hugely influential in the creation of several national parks as well as the National Park Service. And he was just a huge conservationist during the time, and he is very famous among national park geeks, and he also is one of the people that I believe has the most national parks made after him, which is super cool and super deserved. So in today's video I'll be going over the top 5 books about him. Now, there are tons of biographies and books about him that are huge and thick and hard to read because he was such a huge character. I'm going to be going over more child-friendly books that can be used for educational purposes that anybody of all ages can read, but that means that they might not be as big or as huge or as in-depth as they could be. So book number 5 on the list is this book. It's called The Rough Riders, and this book was actually written by Theodore Roosevelt. Yeah. So you know this is a big deal, and I actually have this very beautiful version of the book. It's an illustrated version that we just got at Barnes & Noble, and I've read it and it's super interesting, and it also gives you a really good and in-depth view onto Theodore Roosevelt from his own perspective. And book number 4 is To Dare Mighty Things. This is actually the front, but here's the title of the back. And it is by Dorian Rappaport. I hope that's how you pronounce that person's name. And it's about the life of Theodore Roosevelt. And as you can see, it's more of a kid's book, but it has great illustrations and very good text. And it's actually filled with quotes from Theodore Roosevelt himself. So again, you get that view from his own life. And like I said, it's beautifully illustrated, and I've actually seen this book at the library before, and that's where I checked it out before I got it for my birthday. So this is a super good book on Theodore Roosevelt. And book number 3 is just called Theodore. And this book was actually written by the former senator, I believe, of Oklahoma. Sorry, governor of Oklahoma. And it again uses actual quotes from Theodore Roosevelt. And that's all the book is comprised of, quotes. Except they're arranged in a way to help arrange his life. And not all of them are actually from Theodore Roosevelt. A few of them are from his mom, his siblings, his parents, his children. And so it gives an in-depth view of Theodore Roosevelt, not only from his own point of view, but from others as well. And it's also very historically accurate because it's all based on first-hand witnesses. And book number 2 is The Remarkable Rough Riding Life of Theodore Roosevelt in the Rise of Empire America. And this is by Cheryl Harness, and it's a National Geographic book. And I actually read this book for my history class a few years ago, and it is super duper elaborate and just it goes super in depth, but in a really easy to understand way that is good for both kids and adults. And I actually really liked this book. It has a timeline, so that's why I read it for history class, because it's not just on Theodore Roosevelt, but it's on the whole time and what was going on while he lived. And it's super good, and as I said, it goes in depth and it has lots of illustrations, and this was actually one thing that got me super into national parks in the first place. And last but most certainly not least, my number 1 book on Theodore Roosevelt that I recommend that everyone in the world should read. It is Theodore Roosevelt, Champion of the American Spirit by Betsy Harvey Craft. This book is so good, I love it. This is probably my favorite book on Theodore Roosevelt, that's why it's top on my list. And I think I checked this out of the library and reread it 4 times before I actually got it in hardback. It is just, as you can see, it is rather thick, but it goes into a lot of detail, and it starts and it goes to his whole life, and it has a lot of pictures actually from the time. And this is my favorite book, and I just can't explain it. You have to read it. It's so good. I remember this author does several other books on the Roosevelt and other historical characters, and they are super in-depth as well, but this is my number 1 book on Theodore Roosevelt. Well, everybody, that is the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up and comment down below with your thoughts. I'd love to hear from you. Also, be sure to click that red subscribe button and the little bell next to it to always know when I post new videos. Thank you so much for watching again, and I shall see you in another video. Bye!